The first thing that some of us do when we wake up in the morning is that we check our external surroundings, just to see how we measure up and to see how we are going to, fare out for the day. But for me, what I do, I check internally all the time. I check internally, I check for gratitude, I check for self-love, and I check for willpower. Because if I run short on any one of those things, it's almost like I should just go back to sleep and start again, because then it's like I'm not fully equipped to face the day, and its challenges, because it will come with challenges. And sometimes, like I think, and as I grow, and get older, I realize that we have been taught to fear the darkness, and there's different things or typologies of darkness around us, and we've been taught to fear the darkness. But for me, I have come to realize that the darkness is not to be feared. It is what you do in the darkness, or what you don't get out of the darkness, is more so what you should fear than the darkness itself, because darkness is a type of balance. It is just as much as good for you as the light is, because they balance out each other, and you cannot have one without the other. So sometimes we're trying to stay in one position, not realizing that it has to change because life balances itself, you know. And so we for example, during the Great Depression, which was a long time ago, I was told and I read that a lot of people fare out well because they realize that that is whatever was inside of them. It resonated with the darkness, and they realized that, hey, this is a time for me to grow, and they grew. A lot of people grew out of the Great Depression into wealth. In 2020 was also a type of darkness for us, and a lot of people grew. They realize where they are. They realize the type of seed that they were, or that they are, and they grew inside of that darkness. And so when the light hits them, when they bust the ground up and the light hits them, now they have what it takes to face the light. Sometimes a lot of us are running. We are running and running head on to face the light, and we don't even know what type of tree we are. We don't even know what type of plant we are. You see, the light can be just as devastating for you as the darkness can, because not some trees are better suited for the shade, and some trees are also better suited for the heat. But you have to first know what type you are. A lot of times, do have you ever considered that when we run from our darkness, or our trials, or whatever that we're facing, is we never get a chance to grow, and the light can never see you, the daylight can never see you until the darkness is finished with you, because that's where you grow. That's in the earth, in the cluster of the earth, in your trying moments. That's where you become who you are supposed to be. And when you burst the ground up, that's when the darkness is finished with you, so to speak. And that's when the light can begin to work on you. But sometimes we want to skip a process and jump to a process, and you can't have one without the other. Have you ever sometimes wonder, it's like the way life treats us sometimes, and we sit back and we have our moments, and we might say, for example, when a seed is in the ground, do you know how many earthworms and maybe bugs and little things that live in the earth see this? They see the seed, and they could have destroyed the seed when it was in the ground, but no, they sat and they waited until that seed germinated, spent all that time in the dark and grew and burst the ground up. And then when the sun hits it, and the tree starts to blossom, and maybe starts to bear beautiful flowers, or starts to bear fruit, then you see those bugs and even those worms and all of those things now come and try to attack the tree, and you're like, oh my God, why didn't these things destroy the seed when it was in the ground? You know why? Because things are not always what they seem. We do not understand the whole mystery of life. But what we do understand is that one thing balance out each other. And while we seek for control, we do not need control. What we need is to understand our purpose and to take exactly just as much of what we need from life. Take what you need from the dark to grow. Take what you need from the light to grow, so that you can balance, so you can really, really balance yourself. Again, things are not always what they seem. And sometimes too, we tend to have a sense of entitlement. A lot of us humans, we tend to have a sense of entitlement. And if you feel that you have a sense of entitlement, what we need to do is to put ourselves on a fast. Go on a fast and learn to master our cravings. Because just because you have a taste for something doesn't mean that that thing is good for you. I must say it again for the people in the back. Just because we feel like we have a taste for something, it doesn't mean that that thing is good for you. So sometimes you have to put your cravings under subjection and understand that life is a balance. The light can be just as destructive for you and to you as the darkness is, if you understand where I'm going, So you have to develop. Sometimes you may say, then, okay, then, so how do I, if the darkness is too strong for me, or I feel like I'm not thriving, you have to sit yourself down and learn to call light into yourself. How do you call light into yourself if you feel the darkness is too much for you? You call light into yourself not as a means to destroy the darkness, because you're going to need it. You're going to need those dark days. But you call light into yourself and onto your way as a means of balance. You have to come up with a mantra, and you have to now learn how to say, listen, I pull life into myself. I pull light on my way. I speak positive things into myself. I'm not destroyed. I'm not broken. I am whole. You have to come up with your own mantra according to your needs, and speak those things out in the atmosphere and let them resonate, and don't stop saying them until you own them, until you believe them, until you make them your own. You don't need light as a means to destroy darkness. You just need light, figuratively speaking now. You need light just to cast a little glare on your way, to show you where you are, to show you your environment, to show you where to plant your feet, so that you can understand your position, and from there you can begin to grow. Because after the light comes the darkness. And you must understand that you don't need to fear the darkness. You need to understand, and you need to grow into it. What you don't do, you see, what you take away from the darkness is more devastating than the darkness itself. Even the very light, what you take away from the light can also, or what you don't take away, can also be just as devastating for you as what the darkness does to you. So we have to grow. We have to come to a state of maturity in order to survive. And always remember that things are not always what they seem. All right, you have the power within you, but first you have to be able to manage your internal space. You have to understand your position in the earth, and you have to understand and appreciate balance, because that's what we need. Control is not what we need, because if we begin to control everything and everyone around us, after a while those things are going to start push back. And when they push back, you're going to feel the blunt. Even nature itself will push back at you. Have you ever seen people who, like, sometimes they dump up a site that used to be a riverbed? After a while, nature takes back its course. We have to find balance. And again, always remember, we have to master our cravings, because just because you have a taste for something, it doesn't mean it's good for you. All right, I say peace and blessings, love and light be to you always, always.